G'day, Paul West here, and this afternoon I'm in Maria in the heart of the Eurobodalla. And really, who doesn't love a good farmer's market? And some farmers markets are just cut a little differently from the rest, and arguably this is the best one in Australia, Sage Market Maria. I'm here with one of the founding members, Stuart Whitelaw. Stu, what separates Sage from the rest?
The people behind the counter are the people who grew the food. It's pretty much as simple as that. And it's extremely local. About 70 to 80% of what you see here came from 20 to 30 k's of the place. So, it's not like all of New South Wales, or it's really local produce.
And so no one's buying at a wholesaler and shipping it here and selling it on? No,
Guarantee it.
And see, and we're here, it's a Tuesday afternoon. They just rang the bell 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
When most people think farmers market, they think Saturday morning, coffee, walk around with the kids. Why on a Tuesday are they?
Well, it's a bit of a weird time. Well, we have a Saturday market at Maria, and it's a mixed market. And there wasn't space for all of these growers there. Otherwise, there'd be more veg than anything else. So we felt that the right thing to do was to start another farmers market and talk to the growers. And when should we have it? Well, in between Saturdays would be good, say Tuesday or Wednesday. What time of the day? Well, a morning market doesn't really work. What about when parents come to school, pick the kids up? But not only that, we hate morning markets because we've got to pick the day before. And as you'd know, you pick on it when the northwest is blowing and your lettuces are flat on the ground, in the afternoon. So nearly everything here has been picked this morning.
On the day.
On the day.
Still alive.
And that's why it lasts. People take the salad mix home and they go, how do I know if this is last week's or the week before? It's still fresh.
Now, I'm a little biased, but I've bought plenty of produce from this market, and I've never seen stuff that can be in the fridge for a week. When you buy it, like greens are the ones that really get it. Like if you go to a supermarket, you buy a packet of greens, they're good for a day, two max, then they start to turn into green sludge. I've bought greens from here that I've eaten still crisp 2 weeks later.
I know. Exactly.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Same.
How long has the Sage Market been running for?
We started in 2013 as a trial for 4 markets, and then the then Mayor, Lindsay Brown, came up to us and said, listen, I'm getting feedback, you guys can't stop. You have to keep going. Oh, thanks very much. Anyway, so we did. And we started with 12 stalls. It's in summertime, we ended up with about 25, but it's every stall here is a job. That's the other thing. It's not dependent on some supply chain somewhere else coming in. It means that someone has taken the decision to grow food, whether it's pork right here or lamb or fish up the other end, eggs and honey, bread. So we've always had this diversity as well, which is a really important thing. So you can actually come here and do a full shop. You can get your week's food.
And what kind of impact does having a market like this have on a local community? Where to begin?
Yeah, where to begin? We had lots of people say to us, well, this is, now I can move here.
Yes.
Yeah, I can buy my food. Now I get it. I can actually move the coast. But for the community, in simple terms, it's a dollar thing that puts about over $4 million a year into the local economy, which for a small show like this is pretty good.
That's a massive amount of money.
It is, but that money is going into locals' hands, and so the money keeps going around in the local economy for longer.
And you can see, even we're on a crisp autumn afternoon. It's 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. It's pumping. Now, Stu, Sage doesn't just do the farmers market, right? It's a lot more diverse organisation than that. Like, what does Sage actually stand for?
That stands for Sustainable Agriculture and Gardening Eurobodalla, and we've got about 100 or so volunteers. Various things, like we go to people's backyards after the bushfires and erect little backyard veggie beds for them. We supply food to the local refuges. We have a sage garden, which is close by here, where we grow more food and train people in the art of backyard gardening. So it's got so many little tendrils out into the community, and we're just so supported by the Eurobodalla community. It's extraordinary.
Now, an on-the-ground farmers market like this, it's a wonderful thing. It's a great way to spend a Tuesday afternoon. but we're transitioning into the digital era. You know, it's ever more present in our lives. People are after that click convenience. Is there still a role for the farmers market in the modern world?
Absolutely. We've got here our e-market, which you can buy online. And that's been going for 6 years, I think now.
Wow, so ahead of the curve.
Yeah, because again, you know, we're slow learners, but people said to us, well, that's all fine for 3 o'clock, but you know, I work until 4:35.
Yes. I get
You know,
down there,
it's all gone. There's, you know, one lonely pumpkin rolling down the aisle, you know,
I'll
and that's
take it though.
Yeah, that'll do.
And so what's next for the sage markets?
Continuing to grow, I think, and we'd like to expand into some other things, like maybe move into local ready-to-eat food of an evening. That's something we're thinking about at the moment. For Sage itself, the stall over here is Stepping Stone Farm, and that's a crazily ambitious thing that we've been at for the last few years. It's essentially a mini ag college where we're training farmers of small-scale veg growing, and there's nowhere else in Australia that's doing it, which seems nuts. You know, why should it be a community organisation? It should be TAFE or somebody, but yeah.
Now I believe I get to go visit it.
What's it?
I get to go visit the Stepping Stone Farm.
Yeah.
I'm off there pretty soon.
Absolutely, yeah.
But before we go, Stu, I want to know what makes the Eurobodalla such a perfect place for an organisation and a market like Sage.
It comes down to our region, I think. If you look at Australia as a whole, there are very few places where there's mountains close to the coast, rivers coming down. We're standing on a floodplain at the moment. So it comes from the soil, you know, like they say in France, you know, if it wasn't for the soil, you wouldn't have cathedrals. If it wasn't for the soil, we wouldn't have this market. That's where it starts. We've got this amazing country that we could be more clever with in the way that we use it.
And I think, you know, you can look around here on an afternoon like this and see that Eurobodalla is not just the kind of place that you come and visit, it's the kind of place you can come and taste. And it's sensational. Tuesday afternoons, Riverside Park in Maria kicks off at 3. You'd be hard pressed to find a better farmers market in Australia. I know Launceston think they've got a pretty good farmers market, but really, Sage is the best in Australia. Do yourself a favour and come and visit. Trailblazers. I use that term lightly, Stu. But it's true.
Show me a trail of old blazer. Yeah.
I'm getting hungry though. You better go do some cooking.
I know, let's do it.
There's not going to be anything left by the time I get it. Oh no, wait. I get to go to the source.
Yes,
going to the
and
farm.
make a sauce.
Oh,
What do you reckon?
I'm in. I'm getting a bit pecky. You know, some days as a cook are harder than others. Sometimes you feel like you're really struggling to get ingredients and to make something delicious. Other days it's really easy. And the days that it's really easy tend to be when you've got really good produce. Now, Joyce and I just went for a little look through the garden, and this is the kind of stuff that you cannot find at a supermarket in a million years. You'll even struggle to find this at a really, really good greengrocer. To get this kind of stuff, you've got to come straight to the farm, straight to the garden. We've got this beautiful purple cauliflower, a lovely little sugarloaf cabbage. We've got some mizuna, some beautiful red mizuna, and I've got some of this broccolini. Now, when it comes to cooking recipes, to creating dishes, sometimes less is more. And, you know, you could go full molecular gastronomy on this, and I could make a broccoli soil and then pump it over as a red mizuna foam. But really, when you've got stuff like this, less is always more. So the other thing that we got, of course, I forgot, was these beautiful green garlic shoots. So they've only just gone in, they've been a clove, they've shot. Later in the year, they would have turned into a full head, but they're still totally edible at this size. So really, really straightforward. I'm going to chop up this garlic, give it a bit of a fry with some of those brassicas in the pan. All it needs is olive oil, salt, and a fork. And really, it's that simple. That's the beauty of cooking with amazing produce. You don't have to do much. Anyone can cook it. You don't have to be some highfalutin chef to make incredible food taste good. When it comes to really, really good produce, like this stuff from Stepping Stone Farm, less is always more. So, pop that out of the way. I'll quickly just chop these. I'm going to chop these roots and all. There we go. Now for these, I'm just going to get the knife in there and just break it out into little individual heads like that. Just break apart that bigger head. You can just slowly peel back at the leaves a little bit. You can just start to pop out these little, like tiny little mini cabbages themselves. Just pop out these little mini heads of cauliflower themselves. Look at that. Oh. If all vegetables look like this, you really wouldn't struggle to get people to eat their vegetables. It's such a shame that every person in Australia doesn't have access to vegetables this good. They're still alive. These were growing in the garden 5 minutes ago. And so what a privilege to be able to cook with something this spectacular, this fresh. And got this beautiful cabbage. I'll just peel back some of these leaves, these outer leaves, so we get that beautiful little heart in the center there. And then just give it a quick shred over the top. A little bit of olive oil. Now I'm going to do cabbage first, sweat that down a little bit. A little bit of salt to help break that down. Oh. It's really difficult to describe how good this frying cabbage smells. Now I think we've been so conditioned by crap vegetables. I think we've been so conditioned by vegetables that don't have any flavour that when you think of cabbage, you're like, oh, what, you're frying some cabbage? That's not that nice. But that is literally just olive oil and cabbage in the pan so far, and it smells absolutely sensational. Vegetables that have flavour. What a novelty. So we'll pop the brassicas in. Keep them moving around. And then I'm going to pop that garlic in at the very end. But as far as locations go to have a little afternoon cook up, you'd be hard pressed to beat this. Cooking the produce that was harvested from those beds just moments ago, bathing in beautiful afternoon sunshine. I can hear birds, I can see wallabies, I can hear the river flowing in the background. It's spectacular. So I've got that on a nice high heat, just a stir fry, nice and quick. Give that a bit of a taste. I reckon any parent could get their kids to eat veggies if they tasted like that. Oh. There you go, parents of the world, there's your challenge. Bring your kids down to the Eurobodalla and get them some of this incredible vegetables and see if they still say they don't like them. I bet they do. A little bit of green garlic in there, just to finish it off. And that's roots and all. A little bit of salt. Now there's so much you could do with something like this. If you wanted to, you could fry an egg, chuck it on top, you could grate it, cover it in cheese. You could serve it up alongside some roast meat, but really, I feel like being here on the farm where it was harvested, given how amazing it is, there's really not much else that I want to do to it. I just want to fry up some of this brassica, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of green garlic, and that's done. I'm going to finish it off with some of this incredible red mizuna, and just let that just wilt down a little bit on the top of the residual heat on there. And then just as a final touch, some of these fantastic micro herbs from the farm. Now you could go to some trendy health food cafe and pay top dollar for that. It's a bowl of pure health. Essentially, the food couldn't be any fresher from the garden. It's grown with love in nutrient-dense soil. Really, it's the kind of food that human beings should be eating. And it's really as simple as that. And that is a wonderful sauteed pan full of brassicas from Stepping Stone Farm. A little bit of green garlic, finished off with some red mizuna and some micro herbs. You know, it's a tough job. If healthy eating was always like this, everyone would be doing it. I need to go find a stool and sit down and tuck in.